Having credit card debt can be very difficult because it can affect many aspects of your life. If you have credit card debt, here are some recommendations to tackle it. Sometimes you can call your credit card company to ask for lower rates. But if that doesn't work, you can move your balance to another bank that offers low or zero interest credit cards. However, some of these usually have a time limit for the low interest, usually like a year, and you might have to pay a fee to transfer your balance. If you find that budgeting is hard for you, you might want to try the avalanche approach. This is a method that consists in paying off your debt with the highest interest rate first and then moving on to smaller debts. Lastly, if you have debt in more than one credit card, you might want to check if you can consolidate your loans. This means putting all of your debt in a single loan, which also means that it's only one payment a month.
Just because you were never taught how to use a credit card correctly doesn't mean that they're bad. So here's exactly how to use a credit card, how to avoid debt, and how you can actually earn free money for using these cards the right way. First things first, you need to be treating your credit card like it's a debit card. So meaning that you do not spend, if the money's not in your bank account, you're not spending that money, okay? You're not acting like it's free money and just swiping the card whenever. And any money that you do spend, you're gonna pay that off in full every single month so that you can't avoid interest and you can't avoid debt. Also, you wanna make sure that you're keeping your utilization low. So basically what that means is if you have, let's say, a $5,000 credit limit, you don't wanna spend more than like $1,500 before you pay it off. So like spend less than 30% of your limit, because even if you do pay it off in full, a maxed out credit card never looks good. And if anything, you just wanna wait till you can like up that limit so you can put more purchases on the credit card. This is literally how I'm able to put pretty much all of my purchases on my credit cards. One, because I have 5 of them, and 2, because I up my credit limit on, I need to make sure I'm not flashing any numbers here. I up my credit limit on pretty much all of them. So I put all of my purchases on there so that I can get the most amount of points back possible. Because when you do this consistently and you don't have any debt, you don't have any interest, you continue to earn free points like for every single dollar that you put on these credit cards. And then you can redeem those points for things like free flights or free hotels or just like cash back in general. Basically, moral of this story is stop thinking that credit cards are bad for you and like running and hiding from them, and just start to learn how to use a credit card correctly so that you can actually get paid to spend money.
I was thinking about this earlier and I was like, let me share it with TikTok. So I have a debit card and it was in the back of my wallet. I literally was looking for something earlier and then found it. And I was like, let me talk about this because I feel like this is something that we really need to discuss. I have not used my debit card in probably years. Like I can't tell you the last time I took my debit card out of my wallet and paid with it anywhere. The only time I'm using my checking account is to pay bills. But if I can ever pay a bill or pay anywhere, it's with my credit card, either my Amex Platinum or my Chase Sapphire Preferred. Those are the two that I use. And I'm all about telling you guys, you need to be getting rewarded for the money that you spend. Obviously, you need to keep your credit score up to get a credit card that can really give you the maximum rewards, but you can still start somewhere. If you guys are just getting started on your credit journey, stop using your debit card to pay for everything. Start building your credit and start getting rewarded for money that you're going to spend anyway.
I used to work in personal finance. Today, we're gonna go over the basics of credit cards, like the very, 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 very beginner-friendly version. Number one and most common one that a lot of people know about is what's called a secured credit card. Instead of the credit card companies lending you, say, $1,000, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go in with cash. Say, for example, you hand them $200, that means your credit card limit is $200. They're still allowing you to report to the credit bureau, so it's allowing you to build your credit. A lot of people get approved for this very early on, and a lot of people don't like it because they're having to put their cash up front, which is, yes, annoying, but you're wanting to build your credit, so it doesn't need to be anything crazy. It could literally just be $100. Another type of credit card is an unsecured credit card, which is just a normal credit card, but you're gonna wanna look for something with no annual fee. Discover It, I think, is one. You can literally Google no annual fee credit cards. No annual fee means less pressure, meaning like you don't feel like you have to use that card to get its benefits, because we'll talk about that later. One that I really like is a cashback card, because cashback is free money. So my first one personally was through my bank that I had been banking with, because I had an established relationship. They could see how much money I had coming in every month. They could see how much money I had going out every month. They could see my current balance. Normally, if you're gonna start with a credit card, I always suggest going to the bank that you have established banking history with if you have zero credit. Because again, they're gonna be able to see what comes in and out. They're gonna see what the balance is. They're gonna just know a little bit more about your finances to better establish like where they can start you out with. If you want tips and tricks how to pay down your credit card debt or build your savings account, I've already posted a video on that, so you can go look under the finance talk tab. That's a different conversation. The other card that a lot of people start with is very niche. You have to be a student. It's called a student credit card, and it's exactly that. It's normally a little bit lesser of interest rates. It's a lot lesser of limits, so it's just very manageable for students, but it's also letting you start to build your credit while you're in college. It's a phenomenal option. Whatever you choose, my personal piece of advice, this is not financial advice because I am no longer licensed in personal credit, pay it off every month. There are so many different things out there that says like this, pay it off every month. The whole point in being a good credit card user from your standpoint is no interest. It's literally free money. If you're getting cash back, stuff along those lines, like you're earning free money for stuff you were going to spend anyways. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions on this.
I spent $312.47 this month, and here's exactly how I'm paying it off. As a 19-year-old with a 700 plus credit score, I just got my credit card bill, so let's go pay it off in a smart way. My balance is $312.47, and my credit card limit is $4,000. Therefore, this month I spent under 10% of the credit card limit. So to pay, I am logging onto the app where I have the card, clicking on the statement balance. We're gonna pay it off using the money I already have in my checkings account. We're going to click statement balance, which is the full $312.47. Pick today's date, and we're going to pay it off today. I always pay it off in full to avoid interest. This also helps my credit score. I got my credit card recently, and advice I would have given to myself was to get it sooner. I used to always pay with my debit card, but now I'm realizing that I should have been paying with my credit card more and using it like a debit card. This is more of a safety precaution because if something happens like fraud or your card gets stolen, it's not your actual money on the line if you use your credit card. Because with the debit card, the money comes straight out of your account, but with a credit card, they usually have protection and time to fix it if something goes wrong. It's definitely safer while helping me build credit at the same time. Using credit responsibly protects your score, builds your credit, and sets you up for the future. That's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
As someone with an 834 credit score, I have found the cheat code to having a high credit score. So here are 10 credit card tips that I wish I knew sooner. My first tip is very obvious, but always pay your balance in full every single month. Try to avoid getting into the habit of just paying the minimum. My next tip is to turn on auto pay. If you're still manually paying off your credit card, you're literally playing on hard mode, so you can just turn on auto pay and forget about it. My next tip is to check your detailed statement every single month. The amount of times that I've done this and found a subscription that I no longer use is crazy, so make sure that you do a quick audit and kind of catch any expenses that you're not using. My next tip is to keep your utilization rate under 30% at all times. For example, if your credit card limit is $10,000, you wouldn't want to spend more than $3,000 on that credit card. My next tip is to keep your old credit cards open, and yes, even the one from university. The length of your credit history does impact your credit score, so when you close old cards, you're basically shortening your credit history, which will affect your credit score. My next tip is to request credit limit increases every 6 to 12 months. Obviously, the point of this is not to spend the extra money, it's just to increase your limit so you keep your utilization rate low. My next tip, I learned the hard way, avoid cash advances at all costs. So only use your debit card to take out cash. My next tip is to make sure you have the right credit card that has the right type of rewards for you. Personally, I hate fees. I never choose a credit card that has fees. I've always just chosen a simple cashback card. The current card that I mainly use is the Wealthsimple cashback card. And my next tip is to use a low fee credit card. Maybe this is just personal preference, but I hate high fees, and some credit cards can charge $400 to $1,000 every single year. And my last tip is to keep new card applications spaced out. If you apply for 5 credit cards in one weekend, the credit bureau is gonna look at that and be like, why do they need so much money this weekend? And it's gonna count against you, so make sure you space out any credit card applications. Those are all my tips. Make sure to follow for more personal finance content.
Here are 3 things that your bank secretly does not want you to know. Okay, not a lot of people know this. Your credit card interest rate is definitely negotiable, and they will never tell you that, like at all. Call the number on the back of your card and say this exactly. I've been a customer for X amount of years. I pay on time, and I would like to request a lower interest rate. That's it. That's the whole script. And that has worked for me. A lower rate means less money leaving your account, and we like that. They are basically paying you nothing on your savings while they are making a fortune off your money. Big banks like Chase, Bank of America are paying 0.01% on savings accounts right now. Meanwhile, they are lending out your money at a 5 to 6% interest rate and pocketing the difference. The fix takes 10 minutes. Open a high-yield savings account at an online bank. My favorite one to use is SoFi. The link is in my bio if you want to go sign up for that. Save your coin, make some coin. Last but not least is that overdraft fees are like optional. The average overdraft fee is like $35. So you can call your bank right now and ask them to turn that shit off. Like, you don't need that. Instead of charging you $35 when you overspend by $1, they just decline the whole transaction. And that's your limit. And if you've already been charged an overdraft fee, call and ask them to waive it. Your bank was never going to tell you this, so this is why you should save this, send it to somebody you know, and follow me. Bye.
Let me give you the course that our education system never gave us on how credit cards actually work. Because it's come to my attention that so many of y'all have no idea how credit cards work or are either terrified of them, and having a credit card should not be a scary thing. If you're using it correctly, it's actually a really good thing. So here's credit cards for dummies. I'm going to explain all of this as quickly and basic as I can so that everyone can understand it, but starting with the basics, what is a credit card? A credit card is literally a card from a bank or the issuer, whoever gives it to you, saying, here's money that you can spend and you owe back to us, basically. So when you open a credit card, what you're going to do is you're going to go online and you're going to apply for one. If you're a beginner, there are so many credit cards that you can open as a beginner, and you should definitely look into those. But what you're going to do is basically apply, give them your social security, all that type of stuff, and they're going to look at the credit score that you have now, or if you even have one, and approve you or disapprove you. And you getting approved for this credit card, like I said, is going to be based off of either your credit history, credit score, just all the things like that. So once they look at that and decide that you are someone they trust to give a credit card to, because why they might deny you is because they think like, oh, you have bad credit score, which means you've been issued money before and never paid it back, which is a liability for companies, and they won't want to take that on. And once you have your credit card, you set up an account with this bank or whoever it is. It could be Bank of America, Capital One. Those are just examples. And you're going to open an account, and this is going to show you all the information you need about your card. The first and really important one is your credit limit. Your credit limit is basically the amount of money that you are allowed to spend before you're required to pay them back. So let's say your credit card limit is $3,000. If you spend $3,000, let's say in a week or so, you can't use that credit card anymore until you start paying that off. You cannot go over $3,000 in like debt to your credit card. And the important things when it comes to paying off a credit card is knowing that you have a certain credit time period. So let's say your credit period is from January 1st to January 30th or 31st. In that time, that is going to be the 30 days that you are using that card and whatnot. And after that, you are going to get a billing statement for that particular period of time. So you're going to have your billing statement, which is the money you spent, and then you're going to get that issued to you sometime in the next month, and they're going to say, hey, this is your due date to make this payment. And when you have a due date for your payment, you are going to be given a minimum that you can pay, or you can pay off your total balance. If you pay the minimum, this is the least amount of money you can pay to not get late fees. The thing is, if you only pay off, let's say $25 and you spent $1,000, on that extra $975, you will be charged interest. So even if you're not getting a fee for that money you didn't pay for, that extra $975, you will be paying interest on that. So the best thing you can do is be paying off your credit card in full at that due period, so you don't have like money you have to pay interest on. You find out that interest rate by looking at the APR, your annual percentage rate, and that is your interest rate. And the last thing, and one of the most important things that I know most of y'all are worried about, is how do you have a good credit score? Credit score is based on a couple different things. It's based on credit history, which means like how many other credit cards you've had and how long you've had them open. It's based on how often and like are you regularly paying your credit card. And it's also about how much you are using, your percentage usage rate of your credit card. So basically, to have a really good credit score, one, you want to make sure that when your payment is due, that you are not using or utilizing more than 30% of your credit. That is going to like possibly hurt your credit score, especially if you go over 50. That could literally drop your credit score by like 100 points, which is literally so much. Another thing, like I said, is not having late fees. So making sure that you are always making your payments on time. And if you are someone who feels like you're irresponsible and that's the reason you don't want to get a card, you can always set up auto pay and you make sure that it's always paying on time. You'll never have to worry about being late. The only thing about auto pay is like you could be getting mischarged for things, which most of the time you're not, but it's always good, I think, to look at your statement before paying it off. And credit history kind of just like takes a while to build. So open one up, start early to start building credit. I will say, don't open a shit ton of credit cards at once and don't close a lot at once. These two things can also negatively impact your credit score. That's all I got for you guys. That was my crash course on credit and credit cards. So if you have any other questions, let me know. But I hope that kind of gave you a good understanding of, or at least a basis of how to understand how they work.
I'm going to say this once and I'm not going to say it again. Use your credit cards like they are debit cards. If you have, let's say, $1,000 in your bank account, and today you know that you're going to spend at least $300, right? On food, gas, groceries, whatever it may be. Do not swipe that debit card. Put every single transaction on that credit card. Do this for the rest of the week. And I say do this on a weekly basis because you don't want to do it every day or every few days, because that can get into something else called credit cycling, and that's a whole different video. At the end of the week, total up all of your purchases and then make a payment for every single one of those transactions from your checking account. You had the money to begin with. You're just putting it on your credit card for two reasons. One, the credit card company will see that you are consistently using this card and they will be more inclined to give you a higher credit limit. The higher your credit limit, the lower your utilization rate. Other credit card companies will also evaluate this whenever you're applying for additional lines of credit, and they will also be more inclined to give you higher limits because they can see that you can responsibly manage higher credit limits. Now, the second reason, this doesn't apply to all credit cards, but it does apply to the ones that have perks. By perks, I mean points and or cashback rewards. The more you spend on those credit cards, the more cash back you're going to get. For example, on my Discover card, I sometimes get $100, $200, $300 worth of cash back that I can use for other purchases. I don't have to use this to pay off my credit card because I'm not treating my credit card like it's additional money that I pay back later. I'm not treating it like it's Klarna. I treat it like it's a debit card. So that $200 that I got in cash back, I can throw that directly into my bank account, or I can use it for points. A lot of the times when I buy flights, I don't even pay for them. I use my points, or I use my cash back to purchase flights, book a hotel, whatever it may be. Stop using your credit cards as credit. Use them as a debit card.
I'm not going to hold your hand when I say this because I'm about to get you right. If you're only using a debit card at this big age, you're doing it wrong. Using only credit cards to pay for things has changed my life, and it'll change yours if you do it right. So I'm going to show y'all my two favorite credit cards and how I use them. First up, we have my Chase Sapphire Preferred card. Y'all, this is my everyday card. If I want some food, I'm using this card. If I'm getting my nails done, I'm using this card. If I'm shopping, I'm using this card. If you spend $4K within the first 3 months of using this card, you automatically get 60,000 bonus points, which is like $700 towards travel. It comes with rental car insurance, travel protection, and you also get a $50 annual hotel credit. For points, it's 2x on travel and 3x on dining. The annual fee on this card is $95, which is a lot better in comparison to other cards. Some of those fees be $200, $500, whatever. This is pretty good considering the benefits that you're getting from it. It honestly cancels out. The second card I'm going to show y'all today is my Built card, which is my most recent one. Now, this card, I look at it like my business and bills card. Most apartments will charge you a fee for paying your rent with a credit card, but the thing about the Built card is that it registers in the system as a debit card, so there's no fee. And then on top of that, you get a point for every dollar you spend on your rent. This card does have a few things I feel like they don't promote as much that I didn't particularly like, so I'm gonna tell y'all in advance. First off, you can't get this card and think you're just gonna pay your rent and get your points. You have to do a minimum of 5 transactions each month to get points. I rarely pick it up because I honestly just use it for my bills and recurring purchases. That way I meet my 5-time requirement. My bills are on auto pay, so by the end of the month, my Wi-Fi has been paid, my rent has been paid, my water bill, whatever bills I pay, it's been paid. I've used it a minimum of 5 times and I get my points. The amount that they gave me when I first got this card was not enough to cover my rent, and still to this day is not enough to cover my rent, but I've worked a way around that. I use Bill Protect, which basically allows me to pay my rent through this card, but from my checking account, so that I still get the points, but my limit is not affected. They also try to do these little incentives where you get like free Soul Cycle, free Solid Core, free fitness classes. It just really depends on the month. But yeah, these are the 2 credit cards that I have in rotation right now. My next one might just be an Amex. I don't know. I'll spill the tea when we get there. But if you're finally ready to put that debit card down, these are definitely 2 credit cards that I recommend. Bye.